20 years ago, Geely was begging the Chinese government for a production license. 10 years ago, Geely bought Volvo cars. And now, Geely is going to provide its own platform for Baidu to make smart electric vehicles. On January 10th, Baidu and Geely announced plans to establish a company to produce smart EVs. And the two has entered into a strategic partnership. Baidu will provide intelligent driving capabilities to power the passenger vehicles for the new venture, and Geely will contribute its expertise in auto design and manufacturing. Why now for Baidu? Why Geely? And what will the future prospects be for this new venture? Here are my thoughts.
It's been an exciting year so far. I'm only less than 2 weeks into the 21st year of the 21st century. And I'm still processing the news of Neil's ET7 in my previous video post, and as well as the rumors that Apple is going to make an announcement in March on their plans to jointly develop and build a car together. So there's a lot to process. Here's my take on why this is happening. The first key word that comes to mind is open. The Chinese and the global auto industry is more liberalized than ever. We've already seen a wave of Chinese smart EV startups led by Neil, and now we're entering a next phase where the big tech companies, the Baidus, Alibabas, Tencents, Huawei's, are directly or indirectly entering the automotive manufacturing business, the whole vehicle assembly. One reason why this is happening because for Baidu being an AI company and being in the autonomous driving business with its Apollo platform, which in fact already has more than 100 partners in the OEM, supplier, tech company, city governments working with it on this Apollo platform. This is a move by Baidu to enter what is what I call, the ultimate device, which is the automobile, or in the future, a smart electric autonomous automobile. I think Baidu has had years of experience with its AI, autonomous driving, working with many OEMs, but this is by far the biggest partnership with any OEM for making vehicles itself. And the second key word is really platform, and it has to do with the opening of the auto industry. We're seeing more and more OEMs coming out with their own platforms. Volkswagen's MEB platform, their own operating system, VW-OS, Mercedes-Benz OS. And then you have Geely's, the so-called sustainable experience architecture platform. And I think this is a key trend worth pointing out, is the future of the auto industry will be won by these platforms, and automakers will use these platforms as an additional revenue source and profitability, not only for their own vehicle models, but for other partners like Baidu, what Baidu is doing with Geely. In terms of additional details, I believe this is going to be a joint venture where Baidu will have a majority stake. The production site hasn't been announced yet, but I expect this to be utilizing an existing plant from Geely instead of a greenfield plant. And it's probably slightly more than a simple contract manufacturing partnership, because Geely, with its development over the years, now can contribute the engineering capabilities, manufacturing capabilities, its supply chain, quality assurance, and this is, I think, for Chairman Li Shufu, a new frontier for the development of the company, is to provide this new platform for other interested companies, not necessarily in the automotive space, but most importantly from the tech space. For Baidu, this is a chance for them to really, by becoming now sort of an OEM, even though the manufacturing will still be done by Geely, is to really look at the entire automotive manufacturing ecosystem, rather than being a supplier or platform provider. Now it's going to go into automotive manufacturing itself. What do I think of the success, the possibility of success? This is a tough business, as we found out in the industry over the past year. Quite a few traditional manufacturers, as well as some of the new players, either went bankrupt or they couldn't continue. So I think Baidu really has to treat this with the salt of grain, that it's not going to be simple as making a phone or one of its other gadgets that it makes. So having said that, this new tech companies like Apple moving into the automotive assembly business, we're going to see this develop over the next few months. We're going to hear more. Alibaba at the end of last year announced an agreement with China's largest automaker, SAIC Motor, to form SAIC's own high-end brand Zhiji. And I wouldn't be surprised if Tencent makes a move sometime in the next few months, which will make China's so-called BAT all in the automobile manufacturing business. And the important part to keep in mind is that these tech companies are not going to do it alone. They still need to depend on the traditional manufacturers. So, and why Geely? I think Geely has developed into kind of a Volkswagen group of China, if you will, with its the automotive business, with its tech mobility business, and everything else surrounding mobility, smart mobility, and transport technology. So this seems to be a match made in heaven. But as I said, it's a tough business, and Baidu really has to think about the branding, meeting its branding of the car, meeting its customer base requirements, and frankly, really Baidu, as far as a search engine concerned, its reputation is not that great in China. So even though many people depend on it, but how will that translate into its car branding will be interesting. But really the next wave of tech companies moving into the automotive assembly. And I think the auto industry should welcome this with open arms. I think it's going to benefit everybody. Like they said, throw in a catfish in a pool of sardines and let the market decide what happens.